Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Joey Galvez, one half of your host of Explain Yourself, and I want to let you guys know about a really cool book from our friend of the show, Eli Shockey. This one is called The Greylock, and it's a story where magic is a commodity. Potions are sold at corner stores. Orcs and dwarves earn a living in cubicles, not on the battlefields. But there are those who resist the house's magic's laws. Branded a criminal and forced to live as a wand for hire, there is a spell slinger they call the Greylock. Check this one out. You guys can pre-order issue 3 right now with code JAN241939, and make sure you guys are heading over to your favorite LCS and letting them know that you want Greylock number 3 and maybe pick up the first 2 issues. You could do that at the Scout web store. So make sure you guys are grabbing the Greylock number 3, JAN241939 at previewsworld.com.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Matthew Whitford House.
Okay, that's a good name.
I'm Stargirl's cousin. Well, not cousin. A brother that she didn't know she had. So I get to be like Starman, I guess, at some point.
Oh,
we haven't really discussed the mechanics of it yet, but
well, you know, you gotta have goals in life.
Yeah.
You know, I was at the grocery store the other day, Matt.
Yeah.
Found a product that I think describes me completely.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Okay, Kraft makes a white American cheese singles. So, I'm a white American. I'm cheesy and I'm single. So I'm thinking, I should sue.
Yeah, you might make a lot of money from it. So,
yeah.
I mean, actually, that sounds pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Like white American. That's kind of like what they have at Subway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that style of cheese.
Yeah, you can get the singles of it now.
Yeah.
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 And yeah. I was also looking at the shredded cheese, and so they have at Walmart this stuff called Fiesta cheese.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just wanted to warn people, if they ever release a siesta cheese, don't eat it because you might fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Probably has like Ambien in it or something, and then maybe you'll become randomly racist like Roseanne. And
yeah,
yes.
It was because of the ambient told me to do it. So, that's a weird
defense, but yeah, it works. So, anyways, on today's show, we are covering the last 3 episodes because we fell behind of Stargirl season 2. Let's get right into this, Matt. Okay.
Sure.
I'm going to start with episode 2 of season 2. It was called Summer School Chapter 2. It was directed by Andy Armaganian and written by James Dale Robinson. Aired August 17th of 2021. So in this episode, we had Green Lantern's supposed daughter introduces herself as Jenny Lynn Scott, the daughter of the deceased JSA member Alan Scott, who was the Green Lantern. Courtney is very skeptical of this, thinking that Jenny might be working with the ISA. And she's also kind of jealous of the fact that Pat is spending time with her to help her harness her powers. Yeah, which appear to be connected to her lantern. Which, I don't know why that would be a surprise, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, because Courtney, what I really liked about this episode is that for the first season, and even with this season, I've been increasingly becoming frustrated with this whole gag of like Pat like not being like a real member of the JSA, and he's just Starman's sidekick, and it's always like this diminishing role of Pat that I guess is supposed to be played for laughs, but at the same time, it's like, well, wait a minute, he, built like this huge robot. He's the one that was searching the country for like the remnants of the JSA and all this stuff, like for the artifacts, and so like Jenny was the first person to say like, oh my God, you're Pat Dugan, like you're a complete legend, and everyone's like, he is, and he's like, I am, and she's like, yeah, you're Stripesy and all this kind of stuff, and I just really like that, aspect of it, that like finally Pat is getting his due somewhat, because like I just never got this idea of like Pat's a lowly sidekick to Starman and he's really not like legitimate. Like I'm like, where does this idea even come from? Because the person I'm seeing doesn't reflect what they see in him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the thing is like he may have been, but in the comics we've had situations like where Robin becomes Nightwing and things of that nature. Where sidekicks outgrow the sidekick aspect, and become their own person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Andy Richter had his own sitcom. So,
that's right. Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, it's he has his own podcast right now too. So, yeah, it's a really good.
Everyone does it.
Yeah,
everyone does at this point.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a podcast, there's something wrong.
Right.
But so yeah, I mean, I think the whole diminishing of Pat is kind of like, not cool. I mean, but now he seems to be almost like the de facto. He's kind of like the like Oracle or Alfred or like leader of, or like the man in charge that helps out the superheroes, which is actually one himself. So it's he's kind of both. So it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, in the episode, then Courtney attends summer school with Yolanda. Yeah, Pat then has introduced Jenny to the other members of the JSA.
Mm-hmm.
Courtney berates her, but later apologizes when she realizes that she is jealous that Jenny is actually the daughter of a superhero while she is not, which, is something she thought all of last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus two, like you said, of all the attention she was kind of both jealous and I think felt a little bit guilty because, she was always treating Pat kind of somewhat badly and stuff, whereas Jenny is automatically started looking up to him from like the start. Yeah. So then she kind of wishes that that's how she treated Pat from the beginning, kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think the thing that Courtney needs to come to grips with is that her dad is a superhero, meaning Pat, because Pat is really the only dad she's really had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
it's like that.
Because her real dad's kind of a loser. So yeah.
Yeah, he's like a schemer type of thing or whatever. Like always looking for like the next gig who's gonna strike it rich type of thing, and of course every gig falls through because you're not just gonna like magically find a job that's gonna like pay you like $100,000 a year starting, like or whatever. Like, yeah.
Well, that's why we podcast, because that's what we get paid, right?
Oh yeah, we get so much money from it. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So oh boy. So oh, it's fun. Anyway, so Jenny is actually just kind of she's feeling really isolated and emotional about her brother, because her brother's missing. His name is Todd. She ends up breaking the lantern and strengthens her powers. Pat deduces that she herself is the energy source and not the lantern.
I still don't understand. I don't really understand that. I thought the whole point was, the whole point of the Green Lantern was that it was transferred from one person to the next, and then, you know what I mean? Like you yourself are not the lantern, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're doing something new with this, but
speaking of Green Lantern, I think in the future we should actually cover for our Crisis on Infinite Films series. We should we should cover the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
I think.
It just came. It's streaming on, I think, both Netflix and HBO Max right now. So
okay.
So I think we should cover that, because I don't remember much of that movie at all. So
I don't know. I saw it when it came out in the theaters, and I saw it with my friend Aaron, and I just remember we just kind of drove around after just talked about the movie and stuff like that. I barely remember that conversation. Like that movie, just like I don't know what it did to me, but like.
But yeah, part of me wants to watch it again just to see, because I haven't watched it since it came out on video originally. So so yeah. So anyways, and I don't even know if I watched the whole thing. So yeah, Pat deduces that that Jenny herself is the source of energy, not the lantern, which I don't understand either. Meanwhile, there's an antiquities collector named Richard Swift who calls Barbara to ask about William's equipment. Pat, he seemed suspicious to Barbara, so Barbara lets Pat know about this, and Pat later identifies Swift as the Shade. Elsewhere, we see Cindy, who visits her stepmother, Bobby Berman. I'm sorry, and because she has, the Eclipso stone. She struggles to control Eclipso and inadvertently allows him to consume Bobby. So Bobby is bye-bye.
No, I love the way this episode opened up too, with her dancing to Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah.
And like she's like breaking all of the stuff in the house, like just like throwing glasses on the floor.
Yeah.
And just trying to like, I don't know, just try to get some freedom or whatever. And then Cindy shows up. I'm like, oh damn it! He's like, oh, I'm back, Mom. She's such a brat. And which is interesting because you're listening to Cyndi Lauper, and then it's Cindy Berman shows up at the door. I don't know if that was intentional, but yeah, it's right. She's got an Eclipso now, or at least a diamond that he's I guess encased in or whatever.
Yeah.
She's been she's been trying to restart the ISA or just make her own version of it. So, well, we see more of that in the coming episodes of the progress.
Yeah.
Progress of that venture.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thing with this episode, it's like, I'm still, it's, we also have the fact that, in this episode, too, Jenny ends up just, like, kind of disappearing and going away.
Yeah. I was like, I hope she comes back, 'cause that's a pretty big...
Oh, I'm sure she will. I'm sure she will in future episodes. But yeah.
Because she went to go look for her brother probably. Oh, that's the other thing, too. So she kind of grew up in a foster home.
Yeah.
And she got kicked out because she just turned 18, and that's, I guess, what they do. Like, you can't stay here anymore, so bye-bye. I'm like, wow, that's great.
Yep.
And, yep. And she just goes, and because she was staying over at the Dugan's house for a few days or whatever.
Yeah, and then the one morning she was just gone.
That was after she absorbed all the power. She could actually fly and stuff like that. And so that's cool.
Yeah. So, do you want to take a break right now, Matt, and then come back and talk about the next episode?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks. After a word from our sponsors.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space, and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
And we are back. So, during the break, Matt and I were talking about Pop-Tarts because we were hoping to get them as a sponsor.
For the past 3 years.
Yes. Now, if you're listening, Kellogg's,
please.
Because, corporations are people now, so Kellogg's is just a person that listens to our
Yeah,
exactly. So Kellogg's, if you're listening, yes, please, let us, talk about Pop-Tarts and, how great they are.
Yeah, like we'll promote the hell out of Pop-Tarts in every single episode,
Mm-hmm.
so.
And if you don't want to sponsor us, maybe we'll just start talking about, like, great value version toaster pastries. No.
Or the strudels or whatever,
Yeah, like toaster strudels. Yes.
Yeah, we'll just totally ruin you guys by talking that up.
Those are
instead
pretty,
of what
those
we
are
really
pretty
want
good
to talk
too.
about. They are, no, they are good, but nothing beats just the Pop-Tart. Good consistency. You got that nice little crunch or crumble. Just love them. Just love Pop-Tart. Always have.
Always will.
I tried the wild cherry a couple weeks ago. It's been a long time since I did that. I liked it. The only thing I didn't like as much was the crust was a little bit different. than the strawberry. Yeah, it's like, I guess they use like a different, like the wild cherry crust is a little bit more brown, and it's kind of it's got like these little like indentations on the end that the strawberry doesn't, but it was okay. I got used to it after a couple, tarts or whatever. So
yeah, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
So,
know who else likes Pop-Tarts? Stargirl. So
that's what I've heard.
And Mike Dugan. Mike loves Pop-Tarts.
Oh, yeah, he does.
He talks all the time. Yeah.
Yes. So, speaking of Mike Dugan,
Ooh.
yes, in episode 3 here, which is called Summer School Chapter 3, directed by the beautiful Leah Thompson.
Awesome.
From Back to the Future and Howard the Duck fame.
Yep, Howard the
Duck. Yeah, she really wants to. She wants to reboot Howard the Duck and direct a new movie.
Really?
I really hope she gets to. She's directed a lot of Stargirl episodes. So
really,
yeah. So yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. So
or should I say, so cool?
Yes. So, anyways, this was written by Turi Meyer and Alfredo Septine. This aired on August 24th of 2021. So, okay, here's how it starts. 11 years ago, JSA member Johnny Thunder meets with Pat to discuss Johnny's genie-like partner Thunderbolt. Johnny Thunder is played by Ethan Embry in the past too, so yeah, which is kind of interesting. In the present, we see Mike Dugan experiencing trouble with his paperwork business. When he unknowingly grabs, he goes to grab a pen, and he grabs Thunderbolt's pen and activates him. Thunderbolt, by the way, voiced by stand-up comic and actor Jim Gaffigan, so which was kind of cool. Because I'm a big Jim Gaffigan fan.
Yeah, me too.
He was great on The Boys back in the day. Remember that show? Yeah.
Not The Boys, My Boys.
My Boys, not The Boys. Sorry, yeah, My Boys. Sorry.
That'd be creepy. He's in The Boys.
Yeah, never mind. That's a different show altogether.
Season 3.
Yes. Well, he could be. He's been on a superhero show now. Yeah. So, yeah. But he's a great actor. Anyways, yeah, My Boys. I'm sorry. Yeah, anyways, so, he basically activates him, and, after he explains how his wish-based powers work, and seeing the late Johnny in him, Thunderbolt helps Mike seek revenge on his bullies, because he has these bullies that have been bullying him as he goes to deliver newspapers and stuff. And it's a really cool scene where they were the bullies were trying to harass a girl selling Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah,
and he asks for them to stop, and he doesn't realize that his wishes have to be literal. So yeah, he said stop, and then they're stopping them by dropping all these stop signs from the sky. In a really weird scene.
Cool scene. Yeah. Of course, too, when he activates them, he has to say "so cool."
Yeah.
But it's not actually the words "so cool." It's like an actual word from like a different language.
Yeah.
That's pronounced as "so cool." So like, when he activated, well, for one thing, he sort of like pre-activated the pen first when he said he wishes he was a superhero. So then when he's riding his bike, like he sees all these things like on a street sign saying "so cool" and like there's like a campaign thing like "vote so cool," and like he's like, what the heck is this, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he says the words, and then that's when Thunderbolts comes out of the pen or whatever, doing his cool. God, I love that. This episode's so cool.
Yeah.
Just said it.
It was so cool. And anyway,
Yeah.
Courtney and Yolanda end up seeing this. So they tell Pat, and basically they learned that Johnny's last wish before Johnny Thunder died, was for Thunderbolt to make a new friend.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah, so Mike wants to be part of the JSA now because he says he has superpowers, with the pen. So, so Pat ends up, after debating and stuff, ends up allowing Mike and Thunderbolt to stay together and help the new JSA. They're looking for the Shade. And they end up figuring out where his location is. Mike and Thunderbolt do. And so the JSA goes to confront him. To confront the Shade. They fail to capture him before he escapes. Because he starts using all of his powers on them. And he's trying to explain that he's trying to explain that he's not doing this for bad means or whatever, so.
He's really just wants them just to leave him alone. He's, explains to them, very patiently, mind you, like, we had, similar, goals at one point, but I was really never a part of the ISA, he made some remark about like, there's nothing worse. There's someone who's trying to destroy the world, but then there's no one worse than those who they're saving the world or something like that. Referring to, Icicle's plan to brainwash the entire country into, being better people or whatever.
Yeah.
From season 1. He totally kicks their asses with all of his shadow power. It's a really good scene.
Yes.
He just totally just whips them.
The best shadow puppet show I've seen.
Oh, totally.
Oh, wait.
And the thing is, too, I believed, we even learned more in the next episode, but I believed him because, if he really wanted to do something, he would have already done something, or he would have teamed up with other people, from the, because they didn't really take down the entire ISA, because there were still other people that were like part of the original ISA, but they weren't there in the season 1 of Stargirl. So technically, if he really wanted to do something, he could have just found those people and then decided to go to Blue Valley and to, basically just finish what Icicle started. But,
or the fact that the world is not lacking for bad people, so he could have found anybody.
Yeah, exactly. He could find anyone who wants to do something bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's really interested in this diamond. He or whatever it was, because he wanted to he wanted to first he wanted to collect the wizard's wand at first or something like that. But then that's when he found he found a diamond, a case, I think.
Yeah, he found the case where the gem was in. So yeah.
So then he got interested in that. But I think originally he was looking for the wizard's wand for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And but maybe he needs it for. Well, I think I know. I think I know why he wanted the wand, but we'll find out. I think the next episode might reveal.
Yeah.
Why he wants it. because magic wands produce magic, and why would you need magic unless you needed to fix something that's broken? Anyway,
yes,
I have an idea of what's broken, but
Okay.
we can talk about that.
We'll talk about that in speculation here and stuff and everything. Anyway, so yeah, they realized that the reason that Thunderbolt basically attaches himself to people who are lonely and feel like an outcast and stuff like that. So, Barbara and Barbara and Pat basically realize that Mike is, that they almost feel guilty for not paying enough attention to him and stuff, So
Yeah, he feels left out. He wants to be part of the JSA, or at least wants to know what's going on. And but man, that scene in the beginning, though, I've watched this episode like 3 or 4 times. Because I liked it so much, and so I pretty much have it memorized. But that very first scene always gets me is when Johnny, when it's a flashback from 2010, Johnny, comes in the garage just looking all just sad, and it's because he got benched by Starman, and they're just talking about what it's like being the life of a sidekick, and Pat's trying to cheer him up there's nothing wrong with being a sidekick, and he's like, yeah, but I'm not even that, I'm the JSA charity case, and he's talking about the pen, saying on paper, the Thunderbolt's more powerful than the Flash, Green Lantern, all of them combined, but you have to be really good using it for it to really have take effect.
Yeah.
And there's this thing where Wildcat comes in and says that the ISA's got Solomon Grundy now, so they need all hands on deck, which is interesting because Pat was just talking about saying how he trusts whatever Starman says or whatever, but then Wildcat invites Johnny to come with him, but not Pat, and suddenly Pat's now the one that feels left out or whatever. But it always gets me because Pat was gonna offer Johnny some eggnog, and just as the elevator's closing, Johnny smiles at him and goes, "Oh, we'll have that eggnog when I get back." And I'm just like, "Oh God, that just gets me every time," because they all get killed a half hour later.
Yeah.
You got to think about that too.
Yeah, I hadn't realized when I watched it until you just pointed it out now, and then it makes sense that was the same night that things happened.
It was was when, and that's the thing too, that I think the show mentions it, a lot, but I don't really think, at least now they're really starting to kind of get into it, but just the fact that Pat literally lost all of his friends that night, everyone,
yeah,
and you know what I mean, he doesn't really talk about it that much, and when he does, he's really kind of abstract about it, probably just because it's just so much emotion welled up thinking about it,
yeah,
imagine losing all of your friends in one night, it's just,
yeah. That's sad.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of that too, then okay, so basically, so the JSA had not been able to capture the Shade, so later that night, Mike ends up making his last wish was for which he unknowingly wishes for Thunderbolt to be in better hands. And then the pen ends up at Mike's friend Jakeem Williams' house.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut over to Beth and the goggles, and Chuck warns her of Eclipso.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how it ends.
I'm really freaking scared about this. Okay, so well, we'll talk about it later because it's actually a trailer for episode 5, and we haven't even talked about episode 4 yet.
Yeah. So we'll get to that in our speculation at the end. Do you want to take another break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and talk about the 4th episode here?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll be right back, folks, after a word from maybe Pop-Tarts if they want to sponsor us. I don't know. We'll see. We'll be right back.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space, and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
And we are back. Okay. So, on to the next episode here, Matt. This is entitled Summer School, Chapter 4. Again, directed by Leah Thompson. Written by Taylor Streitz. It aired on August 31st of 2021. So in this episode, we start out with Cindy recruiting Isaac into the new Injustice Society, which is called Injustice Unlimited. We see where Artemis, which I love that name for some reason, Artemis.
Yeah, it's a cool name. I like it.
Visits her imprisoned parents to discuss her recent emotional struggles and upcoming football tryouts, because she's she's living in a foster family that's treating her like shit, basically.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is Lawrence and Brooks break out. So Artemis's parents, they break out and they end up kidnapping Mike to force Pat to help them until the tryouts end, because they want to be there for the tryouts of their daughter and see her. And they really have no other ulterior motive here. So
yeah, it's really interesting. They're just being good parents. Like, yeah, we just want to encourage our daughter, and then we'll break back into prison, and then it's such a weird couple. Tiger is a sports master.
yeah,
just, I don't know. And but I feel bad for Artemis. I really do, because she thinks her parents are innocent. She knows nothing about the ISA. She just thinks that she comes from a very driven, athletic family that cares about health and exercise and being ambitious and stuff like that. So. What really got me about this, I always tend to notice these like little parts of episodes that might not even be like main things, and I just like hyper focus on it.
Yeah.
But her foster mother is like driving a pickup truck or whatever to school, and she's just talking on the phone about like, oh yeah, I've got one of my foster kids' parents are in prison, and she's like literally sitting like next to her in the passenger
It's like,
and then
yeah, don't do that in front of the kid, man.
No. And then she's like chewing gum loudly too, just to be even more obnoxious,
Yeah.
And then just it just broke my heart when Artemis lifts up her bag of lunch and she's like, I can't eat this. It's like a thing of Mountain Dew. And it's like, because she's used to eating like fresh food.
Yeah.
Like basically like power foods. Because like her family her parents are complete health nuts. And, she's like, I can't eat this. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? It's like, I have tryouts today. What am I supposed to do for fuel? It's like, oh, well, you figure it out. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, because there's like a scene that we have later where Courtney's trying to be nice to her and give her an apple. And then, her anger comes forward and she ends up like crushing the apple and being all sad and everything. So it just sucks.
Being all sad, yeah. Like when I'm sad, I just crush an apple with my bare hands.
Like you do.
Like you do.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. So is there, all right, in the comic books, I haven't really looked into it that much, but are Sportsmaster and Tigress, and I guess by extension their daughter, are they at least partly metahuman? Like, not to the point where like they have like huge powers like the Flash, but like a little bit, because like
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, because when she threw that football, it went way farther than like a normal person would be able to throw. And I remember in the first season when Tigress and Sportsmaster fought off Our Man and I think Stargirl, he was like was like juggling these baseballs before like hitting them at people, but like it looked like the balls were like moving in a way where it would not be like a natural way. Like it was almost like they were like levitating a little bit. So I was wondering, like, are they like? I mean, they're like degrees of being a metahuman, like those who have just like insane powers and those who have like a little bit,
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't think they have superpowers from what I've read online. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay.
They may or may not. I mean, in this adaptation of them, but I don't think in the comics they did. But I could be wrong. If anybody knows that and wants to let us know, just message me at mike@cullenpark.com. I would like to know more about them. I've done a little reading here and there, but not much. So it's hard to say. But I don't think that either one of them really have superpowers. I think it's more just like their abilities, their like natural abilities, like of, and determination to, be, superior sportsman type people,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, because the thing is like, like Wildcat doesn't really have powers and other, it's more the suit sort of thing and a different thing,
the suit,
yeah. It's yeah. So I mean, it's like like Batman doesn't have powers. Different, really, Courtney doesn't have any powers. It's really the staff that does.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Anyways, so we have Pat allows the couple to stay with them, and they have and it allows them to they end up having like heart-to-hearts together, like about their raising of kids and stuff and different things. It was just funny, like Barbara and Brooks have this like heart-to-heart about raising daughters, and then share some coffee and stuff, and and then and like you were saying, I don't know if it was on air or off air, about how you think Pat and you think Lawrence was upset, the Sportsmaster was upset because he really wanted to be friends with Pat, but then he was upset that he found out he was Stripesy.
I do think that was what happened. Yeah, because he wanted him to be part of his program, his gym and stuff like that. He wanted him to get ripped, and stuff like that. And
yeah. So yeah, it's feel bad for them in a way, even though they're evil and killed people. But
Right. They killed Isaac's mom. Well,
Yeah.
technically, Brooks killed Isaac's mom.
Yeah. So then Artemis ends up trying out for the scout from college or whatever. He's there to look at her and stuff, and tries out for the football team. She ends up not getting on the football team because of her anger, because she ends up having she's enchanted by Eclipso due to Cindy. And has this vision where there's like these SWAT team type people trying to get her family there in the crowd, watching the tryouts, and ends up attacking Courtney, who's there, because she is having these visions that Courtney is one of these SWAT team members. And so basically she's cut from the team because of her anger issues. And basically told that she has the abilities, but her anger is going to get her in trouble, sort of thing. And so Artemis ends up meeting with Cindy, and Cindy tries to talk her into joining the Injustice Unlimited. So,
Yep.
While this is going on, Courtney attempts to research Eclipso's origins, which Pat finds out that she knows about Eclipso because of Beth being told by Chuck. While she's trying to research this, she ends up going to a bookstore and encounters Shade there, who reveals that his intent is to eliminate Eclipso. So you think he's telling the truth and that he is really trying to eliminate Eclipso?
Yes, I do. Because at the end of episode 3, he's standing on top of like the clock tower or something. He closes the case where the diamond was, and he says he's going to kill those children. And he had like a look of concern on his face, like he wasn't going to allow that to happen. So I think he's telling the truth, because he also told Courtney too. He said, don't you know there's a difference between bad and evil? A bad person, you might break a rule here, do something there, but Eclipso is like just the complete manifestation of evil itself. And he also too, he mentions how he killed Dr. Midnight's daughter, which is kind of weird for him to mention to Courtney, like almost like he cares about this.
Yeah.
That it just seems odd that he would bring that up, like, because they still think he killed Dr. Midnight, and he's been denying it for the past 2 episodes. Like, oh, so you were there, what happened and stuff like that. You have no idea what you're talking about, and if he had killed Dr. Midnight, he just would have just been like, yeah, I killed him. Like, and we find out. So I'm starting to wonder if he kind of has like almost like a soft spot for Dr. Midnight, because he's talking about the fact that Eclipso killed his daughter when she was just 10 years old. That was the girl in the first episode who was being enticed by that little boy to go to the birthday party and steal one of the presents. And,
yeah.
And that was Dr. McNider, but his code name is Dr. Midnight. That was his daughter, and then Eclipso killed her. And we find out how she was killed, because when Eclipso killed Bobby Berman, and basically just like a pile of ash, essentially. And after he like takes the person's essence or whatever, we find out later that so Dr. Midnight keeps trying to contact Beth here and there, and like he can only talk for like a few seconds at a time, and it always cuts out. And she thinks it's his AI coming back, because that's who Beth was talking to throughout the first season. But we find out that it's actually Chuck himself who's talking, not his AI.
Yeah, it's Dr. Midnight himself, and he's actually wandering through a dark location at the end of the episode. So he's stuck somewhere in some kind of realm of some sort.
Like a shadowy realm. So,
Yeah.
so obviously the Shade, or Richard Swift, trapped him there. And so I don't know. We'll see. But my theory is, for right now, is that given the fact that he mentioned the fact that Dr. Midnight's daughter was killed by Eclipso, and that he, quote, trapped him inside the Shadow Realm instead of killing him that night when pretty much all the JSA were killed, I think his intention was to just take him back once the battle was over, but he doesn't really have complete control of it. And that's why I think back in season 2, when he was looking for the Wizard's Wand, maybe he needs a spell or something to be able to get back to that access of that. Like, maybe he doesn't have complete control over, like, the shadows or whatever, you know? And,
yeah, he, like, basically, I think, trapped, Midnight there to protect him.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, we'll find out, but I think that's what his intention was, because, you know, we keep being introduced to these ideas, like the difference between bad and evil and, you know, things like that. And, how he wasn't really a member of the ISA. He was more of like, he was there sort of like as a consultant role, if you will. Like, he wasn't actually part of the team. And so we'll see. But what scares me, when I did the trailer for episode 5 is, Paigey had a video where it says, Eclipso kills, and it has question mark. And what's freaking me out about that is because in the comic books, Eclipso kills Yolanda and Beth. And I'm like, if he does that, I'm not watching the rest of the season. It's over. Like, I'm just gonna not watch it. So it might be the last episode for me.
I really hope that doesn't happen, and I don't think it will, because these characters are established and we care about them. I know that.
Yeah.
If anything, I could see them maybe killing one of them. But I don't think they'll kill both. You know? Yeah. I mean, I don't think. Hopefully, that doesn't happen at all either. Maybe somebody else will be killed.
Yeah. Hopefully, not anyone soon, or someone
not anybody that we care about.
Exactly. Well, maybe it'll be Starman, because maybe he'll come back at the end and he'll actually die for real this time. And then,
I just want some more. I just want some more Joel McHale. Come on.
I know. He was in the first episode, you know, teased us, you know, and then that's it so far, because he's apparently, they don't have like the internet and cell phones anymore where you can just find out where someone lives. Like, you have to travel the country, which again, I think their time travel. I'm okay. I'm sorry. I can't talk right now. I think there's a possibility that the JSA that we have in this show, like 2010, I have a feeling that they actually may have come from a previous time itself.
Yeah. But
they happen to be existing in the like 2010s, because everything about it, the cars that they drive, the clothes that they wear, it has a very 1950s, 1960s style to it, and I just don't think that's by accident. And a lot of the old photographs they show with Stripe C and them, like a lot of the photographs are either in black and white or they're extremely faded. I mean, modern phones cameras have been pretty decent for the past 20 years, so like. And even more so in the past 10 years. So you tell me you couldn't get a decent photograph from 10 years ago? It doesn't look like it's
in 2010, I was posting. We were all posting pictures on Facebook,
right?
You know, so why is it limited to just, you know, real photographs and not, you know? There's no digital photographs, so who knows, you know?
I really do think there's something we'll find out later. And there's been hints here and there. I mean, because Pat talked about how, because Courtney asked him about what happened to Per Degaton, which is interesting because in the first season of Legends of Tomorrow, Per Degaton is like the main villain. Well, not really, but he's perceived as being one of the main villains of that season, and who he was basically being brainwashed by Vandal Savage to kind of be like a really authoritarian type of dictator or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he kind of is taken aback. He's like, per Daguerreotype, like he hadn't thought about him in years. And he says, the Flash, he banished him to an alternate timeline. And we know from the Flash how Barry loves, or anyone who's the Flash loves, jumping through timelines all the time. So we have that kind of hint. And from season 1, we know that Shiny Knight, he actually literally came from a different time period. He was like from like the 1400s or something like that. And he ended up somehow becoming part of the JSA. So it's like time travel has already been somewhat established.
Yeah, and we do know that at some point in this season, I don't know when, John Wesley Shipp is showing up as Jay Garrick.
Right.
Yeah. So that might be might be the way that they're going to connect this show to the Flash Arrow universe sort of thing, you know? So, yeah.
Indeed.
We'll see what happens. Any other thoughts here, Matt, before we wrap things up?
Oh yeah, actually one more thing. So when Cindy is she goes down to like the lair, you know, or whatever, where they used to have like the ISA meetings, which is a part of her father's house, and Eclipso tells her to like envision what she wants her team to look like. So then like the team shows up on like the mural where like the old ISA was.
Yeah.
It's like the new leader. She's like wearing her Shiv outfit or whatever. And Mike Dugan is part of the team again. For some reason, she wants Mike on that team. We don't know why. I've got a theory why though.
What's that?
I think Mike is going to be jealous or envious of Jakeem because he's going to be the true master of Thunderbolt. And I think it's going to cause a rift in their friendship. And then he's going to be raw, emotionally raw. And Cindy, again, let's not kid ourselves. Cindy, is a pretty girl. So she might, and she was already kind of flirting with Isaac to begin with when she first came up to him.
Yeah.
Like, would you want to be my friend? Stuff like that. And so she might do the same thing to Mike. Someone pretty is, paying attention to him, type of thing when no one else is, so. I don't know. That's just my theory.
Yeah, I really hope they don't make Mike bad, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to permanently. My theory is he might join for like a minute just to kind of like get back at his parents, but like he doesn't have like any actual intention on like hurting anyone. And then he's going to have a change of heart. Then they're going to beat him up probably really bad because he's not allowed to lead the team. And then that's going to like cause like a bunch of tension between the two groups. Then we're going to have like a huge battle at school at the end of summer school probably. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully we find out soon. If you have any other thoughts yourself about speculation of future episodes of Stargirl, send them over to me at mike@cullenpark.com or on our All Too Real 2 podcast Facebook group. Those are the best ways to discuss this. Also, if you could, folks, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us to get seen by people. If you have any other suggestions of how to share our show and how to get people to listen, let us know too. We want to help grow our community here, and we feel that you're part of it here, our listeners. Anybody that's listening. We love to hear any kind of feedback you have. If you think that we suck, let us know. Just whatever it takes. Eat your Pop-Tarts, people. Check out our Patreon, our TeePublic. Also, wear a frickin' mask, people. Wear a frickin' mask. Wear a condom. Not all the time, though. Only when you need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, get a vaccination, people. Don't take horse medicine. And, until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.